Corey Bashir, Silver Blue Shield Tactical Systems. Today we're going to give you 5 tips on use of force. Hopefully these tips will help you. And of course you're more than welcome to contact us if you ever have any questions at blueshieldtactical.com. The first thing we're going to recommend is reviewing your policy. Guys, know your policy. I'm so surprised of how many officers don't review their policy until they're involved in a use of force incident. So then they don't understand what defensive resistance is, what active aggression is, what they can do and what they can't do, because they're not that familiar with their policy. They've only read it once generally, and it's when they got hired on, and that's when then they turn around and they use force, then they go and they review it again. So make sure, tip number 1, review your policy. Know your use of force for policy, or what we like to say, your response to resistance policy. Okay? When you're documenting your report, the type of call you're going to, turn on your camera, narrate those call notes and what you're expecting prior to arrival. And if you've ever dealt with that individual before, or if they've assaulted someone, or if they've previously assaulted someone, or that they previously resisted arrest, make sure that you're putting those in your report. That they're a known offender, they're a known drug user. Make sure that you're putting those things in your report, along with size of the offender. Okay? If they outweigh you by 50 pounds, that needs to be in the narrative, along with your weight. If they're a lot more muscular than you, if it's a male and you have a female officer, obviously that needs to be in the narrative in those concerns, because a male offender is going to be stronger than a female officer. Review your video. Tip number 3, review your video. Make sure that you, at least, I've had officers say, well, it wasn't actually on camera, it was off to the side. But guess what? There's generally audio that's associated with it. And you can pick up so much from just listening to what happened. Don't try to write that report from memory. So make sure that you're reviewing those videos before you write those reports. We're so detailed when it comes to DWI reports. On step 8, he stepped offline. He didn't walk heel to toe. All those type of things. We need to be that detailed in those response to resistance reports, but we're not seeing that. Okay? Don't use general terms when describing what happened. I see so many reports, and I still see them to this day, where officers put in there, he resisted. What does that tell us? It doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't tell us what happened. Or they put, I assisted him to the ground. And then, of course, we look at the video, and it looks like a WWE body slam, which was totally justified under the circumstance. But the officer was not familiar with their policy. They weren't familiar with what they could and could not do, and they were worried about getting in trouble. So they put in the report, I assisted him to the ground. And when you think of that term that's used, that general term, you expect to see someone helping someone down to the ground, when that was obviously not the case in the video. So make sure you're putting in there what he did, what you did, okay, and back and forth. Space is important. How many officers are on scene is important. I see so many times that we have 4 or 5 officers that may be out there and arrive to a scene, and we see 1 report. That's a problem. We need to have supplements from those officers that were there on that use of force incident. Think about this, guys. The liability that's associated, especially in the times that we work in, with response to resistance or using force. It needs to be documented completely. Okay? Our next and final, using plain language. Make sure that you're using plain English in your reports, when you're testifying. There's so many of the jurors, and then you have to look at it and say, well, I may be going to court on this, so I want to use plain English, not only in my report, but when I'm on the stand as well. Don't use anything that's overly complicated in your reports to where it confuses a juror, or they don't understand what you're talking about. And steer away from using cop talk. Jurors don't understand that. Someone else reviewing your report that's a police officer will understand what you're talking about, but you may have a DA that's reviewing it, or when you're on the stand and you're just regurgitating that information back out, you're going above and beyond some of your jurors. So make sure that you use plain language. Guys, I hope some of these tips helped you out today. And of course, we go into a lot more detail in our use of force from the street to the courtroom course. You can log on to our website at blueshieldtactical.com and see our upcoming training dates, or you can contact us about hosting a course at your agency. If you ever have any questions, guys, you're more than welcome to call us. I'm a law enforcement officer as well. I've been in law enforcement for over 20 years, and your safety and making sure that you have a long and prosperous career is important to me. So I want to make sure that you're not only safe, but your career is intact by doing the right thing and making sure that you're documented properly. So if you want to call me about that, or you want to send us an email about that, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll help you out in any way we can. Okay? Be safe out there on the streets.